I'm going to be presenting today on the Food Animator pilot project. Christine Finley and myself from One Nutrition have been the guinea pigs, I guess, for this project. So yeah, I will get started with that. Before we dive in deep, I want to recognize everyone that has made this possible. So the team, you guys, Alberta Food Matters, Alberta Public Health Association, the Rural Development Network, Farm to School BC, Farm to Cafeteria Canada, and Public Health Association of BC. All come together with funding and support and mentorship to make this happen. So the Food Animator, who ideally is a motivated, mindful, intuitive, and organized, either team or individual. This position engages with schools and local food champions to bring a locally supported school literacy program to life, hence the Animator term, based on the farm to school model. I'll dive a bit deeper into the farm to school model and what that means. We're trying to do this all over Alberta, but we're currently focused in the Peace region in Northern Alberta. And how do we aim to do this? By being the boots on the ground, using a efficient and efficient framework. Oops, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. The farm to school approach is based on our mentors who have been amazing for us throughout this building this program. Farm to School BC and Farm to Cafeteria Canada. Farm to School approach brings or aims to bring healthy and local food into the schools. It provides students with hands-on learning opportunities that fosters food literacy, and it strengthens the local food system and enhances school and community connectedness by doing that. And it's really cool. Christine and I have seen this firsthand happen with the schools. And these things come to fruition. So success of the program depends on kind of three core things. The community animator support within the hub. We're working alongside teachers, students, public health officials, and lots of different local organizations within the designated regional hub to support the food literacy in the K-12 schools. The community animators, so ourselves, we place the local people at the core and the center of everything that we're doing to build bridges and strengthen the connections in order to create something that is sustainable for that school. The second thing is it needs to be a flexible design and implementation. And this is really huge because every school, as Jen said, is different. And we're meeting the schools where they're at. So this program needs to be able to accommodate a huge variety of community stakeholders, fluctuating economy, and the diverse aspects of a student body. Collaboration with community partners ensures that the program reflects the local needs. And this is so key. Understanding what the local community needs and being able to adjust our programming to suit that has an increased success rate on this program. And lastly, support from the multiple stakeholders. This includes the school districts, having a team of champions within the school and within the community partners. So how do we facilitate a startup? This, again, can look different from school to school, but it kind of comes down to these main core things. We gather the like-minded individuals, create a vision, and then we establish an action plan and designate roles, set the timelines in place, and then seeking out funding can look a couple different ways. We can designate people who want to tackle that themselves, or we as animators, that is part of our role, to fill out grant applications, which was a massive learning curve for Christine and I this year. I am gonna get going quickly because I forgot I have a lot of info here and yes, need to scroll through. Okay, so some options for farm to school program can include tower gardens, microgreens, beekeeping, which is more popular than you would think, And yeah, Jen's nodding, yes. School gardens, farm tours and visits, cooking classes, a salad bar, greenhouses, indoor grow stations, a smoothie bar. That's one of my personal favorites. I think with one of the most impacts nutritionally on children and relatively simple to set up, hydroponics and garden boxes. Okay, so Wanda asked for us to present on our experience so far with this pilot project. So I'm just gonna briefly go through life as an animator, a little highlight reel that is sharing specifically what we have been up to since last August, and then things that we have learned from this. So hopefully the food animators moving forward will have a better template to work off of. So life as an animator really comes down to 4 keywords, and that would be relationship, communication, patience, and then evaluate and evaluate and evaluate. So the relationship with everyone on board is incredibly key. Cultivating trust and openness between us and the school and all the community partners is essential. We need to prove ourselves as one to be trusted through organizational skills, being a wealth of resources that we can readily hand over to them, and having follow through with our promises and things that we start. This helps build a trust relationship with everyone involved. The communication, learning and respecting each style of communication. Everyone has their own style of communication, and whether it's the principal or a local gardener, whoever it is that we're speaking with, we have to be incredibly adaptable and flexible and meet that person specifically where they're at and communicate with them as they choose to communicate. So that requires the food animators really need to be intuitive to how each stakeholder in the project communicates. And it's at the foundation of building those healthy relationships. Predicting, preparing, and pampering. So kind of predicting how a relationship within the project may evolve. You can really start to see patterns, or the more you get to know the person or the group or the team, in order to make less work for them, you can start to predict certain things about them. And then preparing a space for these relationships to flourish. And you kind of got to pamper them a little bit in a way that they feel heard and respected and known. And I know this is starting to sound a little bit more like marital counseling than anything, but it's the truth. But it's the same, yeah, tactics across the board. So patience is, yeah, something that kind of it's very essential for this role and kind of hit us out of nowhere, is respecting the process, because we're meeting schools where they are at, and we're here to lighten their load and to inspire and give them the resources to get their dream off the ground. It's hard because we begin to take ownership of the projects, and they kind of become our babies. And so when the process isn't going according to plan or as we might think that it should be, to kind of pull the reins back and remember that, yeah, that maybe we should be a little less passionate about where it should be at any given time. So, and part of that is embracing the changes with the pace. We have 2 project schools going on at the moment, and at any different time, they've all been on different paces, and the pace never stays the same. It always changes. So embracing all of that. Okay, so this is just a funny little thing, a day in the life of an animator. This is to hone in how much evaluation is very important. And when Christine and I first came into this role, it was kind of hit over our heads. Always be on the lookout for ways that you can evaluate, who you can evaluate with. So for our coffee, check our emails at 8:30 in the morning, 9:30 a.m. We're doing an evaluation. 10:30, set up some meetings. 11:30, evaluate. And 12:30, we're thinking of more ways to evaluate. It's always on our brains to evaluate, which is important. Okay, a little highlight reel of what we have been up to. Manning Elementary School is one of our project schools. They're an hour north of Peace River, and they received a $10,000 grant from Farm to Cafeteria Canada, which they decided to do greenhouse and berry bushes. So the greenhouse is actually not their core initiative this year. It's a little bit on the back burner. They're not using the greenhouse to the full capacity as they know they can in the future. Their focus is the berry bushes. And then their garden connection is the town of Peace River is setting up a community garden space, and the school has boxes within this. Sorry, what did I say? Peace River? Town of Manning has a community garden space, and the school has garden boxes in the space. And so the students will walk over to the gardens and have their hands-on garden connection with those boxes and be able to harvest the vegetables to take back to the school to use for their food programs. This was a really great project, still is a great project. Connecting all the pieces. There was a lot of balls in the air with this, a lot of great ideas floating around, but there was no connection bringing everything together. So that was part of Christine and my role is to continue to hone in these pieces to make it a reality for everybody. And then creating a team, we started from scratch with Manning Elementary. So still actually trying to get a team in place so that we can make designated roles. And then of course, connecting this project to the community. Okay, TA Norris Middle School is right in Peace River, and it's our second project school. They have decided to do a garden box project. They received $3,000 from Blue Cross. And another outcome of this, which is pretty exciting, is the principal has implemented a gardening options class for the kids now. So that's really exciting for the school. Hydroponics is also a part of the garden box project. And then it's been amazing seeing everyone come together, and in order to maintain the garden boxes in the summertime, families have stepped up and volunteered their time to adopt a garden box in the summertime. So their, family will come and do the maintenance and the harvesting and the weeding of the garden boxes. So it's really fun to see how it's affecting the whole family. It's not just staying within the actual school facility. And the community partners, I'll get into a little bit more with TA Norris specifically, is really awesome. Okay, so both schools took place in the Great Big Crunch this year, which was really fun to see. The evaluation showed that the kids had a lot of fun, and it was really well received. Kids were excited and really, really open to trying new foods, even that they have never had before. Incredibly receptive. Okay, so this is what I was talking about with the community connections with TA Norris. The local library in Peace River has created a whole event called Farm to Home for the entire spring and summer. And it's really incredible, actually. They have different things planned throughout the course of the next few months, including a plant exchange with edibles, agricultural presentations. So Christine and I are right now getting local producers to come in and talk to the community about what they do. There's garden food workshops and food growing and making resources. Okay, a few things we have learned. There's a lot that we have learned from this, but I'll just highlight a few of those things. So one of the things I would say for moving on with this project is training, that it would be incredibly helpful for the person coming in to have a little bit of a template or some pre-training before they jump right in talking to the schools. It really was kind of like a culture shock for us coming in and learning the acronyms and all the different organizations involved. Was a bit of a tongue twister for the first few months, for sure. And so there's a lot of behind the scenes things that would be very valuable for someone who's just coming into the position to know before they get started, for sure. This has been a really steep learning curve for us. So obviously, we were hired as a team, One Nutrition, to do this job. And we have learned along the way that this job really is meant for, it's a one-person job. However, it could flourish within a team setting if there's a designated point person. And then the team is there to support that person, and everything always comes back home to that point person to then delegate. We feel that that's the only way that this job can be done efficiently and to the highest quality, for sure. Boundaries, setting boundaries about who we are and what we do is really important. We've been asked to do graphic design, come to schools and do presentations on areas that like we don't even know much about. And so that just showed us that we didn't define our boundaries in the beginning as clearly as we should have about our role as community animators. And then I love that Jen referred to the spider web, because yes, it's a web of communications, and the all the interwoven relationships and communications going on. It's mind-boggling the amount of communication that happens just to get like these programs on foot. So yes, so just having this web as a visual really kind of hones in I guess, room for miscommunication and how important it is to be very clear and adaptable and flexible. And yeah, I think that is, I'm going to skip the last slide and just wanted to say thank you on behalf of One Nutrition for allowing Christine and I to be a part of this amazing, amazing food movement. And yeah, sorry, one more thing. If I were to say like, the most meaningful thing that we've learned is just how needed it is, how needed food literacy and just education on healthy food is in schools. So thank you.